Okay, I'm excited for today's video. It's about how to lock in, build a routine, and make habits stick. So today we're going to be talking about basically how to build a lock-in routine. Everyone is in this lock-in era. We're all locking in. How do you build your own lock-in routine? And I'm just going to go through steps and what worked for me in the past, what's worked for my clients, and how to do this. So basically, locking in doesn't mean that you are so extremely disciplined that every single day you are forcing yourself to doing this routine that you don't enjoy and that it's so unenjoyable. The process is so enjoyable. I feel like that's the stigma with locking in, is that it's so unenjoyable and that it's so tedious and just extreme discipline. But it can be like that, and a lot of people do find a lot of success when they do those things, but it doesn't have to be like that at all. You can actually have a lock-in routine that is actually quite comfortable, where not comfortable, oops, not comfortable in the way where, oops, not comfortable in the way where you're not getting anything productive done, but comfortable in the way where you are actually enjoying what you're doing and you're getting good results without, how is this set up? Without it being excessively draining. You know what I mean? Without draining yourself. So going live, the one tedious thing about going live is that you can't edit things out, and it just stays, even when it's messing up. So it's okay. Okay, so yeah, so what you do for a lock-in routine is, number one, you have to figure out what is your intention behind having a lock-in routine. Is it because you want to lock in religiously? Maybe you want to get closer to God. Okay, lock in. You have to have a prayer routine. You have to cut out certain things that are bringing you further away from God. Maybe the lock-in routine is that you want to lose weight. I always go to this example. It's super easy to talk about this example. Your lock-in routine is that, so your lock-in routine is going to have to revolve around a physical activity, one task of physical activity, maybe two, maybe reducing certain foods that are bringing you away from that goal, increasing foods that are bringing you closer to that goal, increasing sleep, maybe reducing habits that are taking you away from that goal. So just creating a lock-in routine that's revolved around a single intention or a single goal, some end goal in mind that's more singular, instead of an end goal of multiple different streams. Because if you have multiple end goals, you could have a lock-in routine, but it's going to be a little bit harder to kind of focus and zero in on those goals when there's just so much so much directions that you could possibly take. So I think that is one of the things to make sure that you're doing. Okay, so number one, yeah, like we said, we want to make sure that we're not just focusing on only discipline and just making it so ineffective. You want to make sure that you have a balance, okay? And it doesn't mean the intensity has to be so strong. It more means that there's alignment and aligned action. So what aligned action means is that you're actually taking actions that are getting you closer to your goal, and not just discipline action just for the sake of being disciplined. So if waking up at 5 a.m. doesn't really align with your goal, it's not really bringing you closer to your goal, then maybe that's not on your checklist for aligned actions and for your lock-in routine. Because you don't have to just do it because everyone else is doing it. You don't have to have that on your lock-in routine because everyone else is adding it to their lock-in routine. Are you seeing it? You're seeing it on social media. You're seeing it on other people's routines. But if it makes sense for you, and you maybe, for example, actually do that in your lock-in routine, and it works for you, and you're getting the results, it's bringing you closer to your goal, then absolutely keep that on your lock-in routine. Okay, so the structure is more important than the force. Okay, structure meaning there's some structure, there's a routine to what you're doing. It's not just some goal and then there's no structure to it, and you're just forcing yourself to get at the goal, forcing yourself to get at the goal, but there's actually no structure. You want to almost like wake up with confidence that you have this structure throughout your day that's guiding you closer to the goal, and it's not all over the place, right? Like, for example, in my life, when I wanted to get healthier, or when I say get healthier, it's more so mental health, because I was always pretty healthy eater. Like, I would be active. Like, I feel like mostly when I say get healthy, it's more so like the mindset, just getting out of a lot of like mental, um, just mental health problems and stuff like that. So getting healthier in that way meant I have to cut out certain things that are negative for my mental health. Where it's like, if I set up my day in a certain way, where like the shows I'm watching, the content I'm consuming online, the people around me are just not negative influences on my mental health. So I have this structure set up. So it's not like this pure discipline type of thing. It's more so like I set up this structure where the habits and the routine of my day aligns with my goal. If my goal is to feel better mentally, my goal is to have more healthy mental health, the actions I take throughout that day should align with that goal. So that's what the aligned action means. So you're making sure that you're really taking aligned action. Okay, so your identity is more important than your habits. What are you doing when you're doing those habits? So let's say you have the goal of losing weight, but in your identity, you feel unworthy of losing weight. Or let's say your goal is to get into a relationship and you feel unworthy of a relationship. And if your identity is not matching that end goal, and maybe you're just talking to people, you're talking to significant possible partners, significant possible significant partners, and significant others, what's the word? Then if your identity is not there, where like you feel like it's actually you're worthy of these things, it's going to be harder for it to stick. Same thing with working out. If you feel the identity is not there, where you don't feel like a healthy person, you don't feel like it's like, you don't feel the identity of like, yeah, I can do this. This is me. Like, I'm capable of this. It's going to be a lot harder to get into that routine. So that's where identity is almost more important than like the force that you're putting into it. It's how you're showing up. It's how you're doing these things. It's just like when someone is trying to sell you something and you're looking at that person and they're selling it to you in such a way where like their identity is not really aligned with what you'd want the salesperson to be like. Maybe you love that product, but if you walk into two separate stores and you love the product the same, but if the salesperson, their identity is just not there, and they're not taking aligned, their personality is not aligned, then you're just not going to want to buy that thing. Rather, like, it's just like going into a store and you just don't like the salesperson. You're not going to want to buy that item, even if you actually love that item. There's certain times where I'll walk into a store and I'm like, oh, I actually really love this thing, or I really love this item that they have, or whatever. But if I don't like the salesperson, I'm not going to want to buy it. I'm just going to want to like leave the store, because I'm just like, this is just not a good energy here. So that's the kind of same thing here when we're talking about identity, how important identity is and how you view yourself, your self-concept. One of my most popular videos on my YouTube channel is self-concept and scripting and just rewriting a self-identity for yourself. So this is a really good practice, a really good exercise to do, is to journal a new self-concept for yourself. Everyone has a view of their current self, a view of their current image, their self-concept, and obviously like it's important to be aware of what you are currently, but what do you want that self-concept, and what do you want your person to be? How do you want yourself to be perceived? How do you want yourself to perceive yourself? It's good to write that down and like to fully journal what that would be like. So that's a really good exercise to do. Just pull out a journal, take a few pages, and just like take some time to write on a few pages. Just get it all out. Get down to the detail of how that person acts, how that person dresses, how that person walks around, how does that person talk to others, how does other people talk to that person, how does that person eat, what is their body language saying, how do they dress, how do they take care of themselves, what does their wellness routine look like, what does their hygiene routine look like, how do they cook, do they meal prep, all that type of stuff. Like getting down to the detail of what you'd want your self-concept or the best version of you to look like, and what does that what is that gonna, what is exactly, how is it gonna act? How is that person gonna act? What's that routine gonna look like? That's kind of how you figure out what is my ideal routine, is figure out what does my ideal day look like? What does my ideal version of myself look like? And then how do I get closer to there? Okay? Okay, so when you establish a lock-in routine and you want to build this disciplined routine, or let's not use the word discipline, but let's just say lock-in routine, is you want to first establish 3 core non-negotiables. What are 3 things that you are not going to negotiate every single day? So these are 3 things that you must do every single day. You can have more if you want to, but the main 3, like maybe you have 3 things that like more than 3 things that you want to do in that day, maybe more than 3 habits that you want to include, but there's only going to be 3 max. You can even do 2 non-negotiables. So these are things that you make sure every single day you do as a non-negotiable. This is like the floor. This is the base. This is the standard that you've set for yourself that you're going to do. So maybe that means you're doing an entire morning routine that you have set up for yourself. Let's say you wrote out a 3-step, 5-step morning routine. You're going to actually do that whole morning routine. Okay? Now, let's say that you want to do reading. Maybe you're writing a book, and part in your non-negotiable routine is that you're going to rewrite, just get it all on paper, maybe 2 pages, 3 pages, 4 pages of writing. Maybe you want to journal. Okay, you're journaling every single morning, 2 pages, 3 pages. Like maybe you're doing the morning pages journaling exercise where I think it's 3 pages of just free writing where you don't take your pen off the paper and you're just writing as it goes. So maybe that's one of your non-negotiables. Okay, another non-negotiable is just daily physical activity. Maybe it's 30 minutes of daily physical activity, whatever it may be. Maybe you have a treadmill in your house. It's easy to get to, it's accessible, it's an easy thing to put on your non-negotiable list, and it's going to bring you closer to your goal. So number 1, you're putting on your non-negotiable list if it's easy to achieve, like you're able to actually achieve it. If it's something hard to achieve, or like, driving across town to this specific workout building, this specific like workout club, and it's so hard to achieve, then don't put that on your non-negotiable list. You have to be putting things that are actually achievable. It's almost going back to like the SMART goals thing. Ignore my phone ringing in the background. So that's one of them. Another thing is daily journaling, daily prayer. You could do, the other thing that was with your non-negotiables is that you want to make sure that it is something that is bringing you closer to that end goal. So like I said, with the 5 a.m., waking up at 5 a.m. may not bring you closer to your goal. Like if it's not for you, it's not for you. For me personally, waking up early does bring me closer to my goal. I feel better when I wake up earlier. I feel like I can get more accomplished in the morning. I feel like I can go into flow state better. I can go into deep work better when I wake up early. And a lot of people do feel that way, I would always suggest everybody tries it out for a few days at least, waking up at 5 a.m. I know it's kind of ridiculous, but once you do it, you either love it or it just doesn't work for you. So it's good to figure that out early on. Do you love it or does it not work for you? Okay, so first figure out what are the non-negotiables. Do they actually align with your goals? Do they bring you closer to your goals? At least one of your goals, the main one you're focusing on for a lock-in routine. And then the next thing you want to do is reduce friction for these 3 non-negotiables. So let's say you have 3 non-negotiables. It's going to be working out 30 minutes a day, reading 10 pages of your book, and let's say it's journaling. Okay? Or let's say, you know what? Let's get productive here. Let's say it's deep work for 2 hours a day. Okay? So for your 30-minute workout, okay, how are you going to reduce the tension and the friction to doing this task, this non-negotiable? So under your non-negotiable that you're journaling, you're going to write a step of how you're going to achieve this. How are you going to make this less complicated, less complex? How are you going to make this so achievable? Like, how are you going to actually achieve this? You're going to achieve this by making sure, like, first think about anything that's going to come up that's going to prevent you from doing that. Maybe it's you don't have enough time. Okay, well, how are you going to carve out the time? What time of the day you're going to work out? You're going to make sure that you work out at this specific time so it doesn't interfere with work, it doesn't interfere with maybe you're dropping your kids at school or whatever. Men don't really journal. Straight to work, in my honest opinion. Okay, so honestly, a lot of my clients that are men, my male clients, they actually love journaling and it actually works great for them. So a lot of males don't tend to naturally be drawn to journaling right away, but once you start to journal, you're going to actually see such a benefit from it, such a clarity that comes in your mind that you're actually going to want to journal. So I would suggest trying it out. Which brings me to the next non-negotiable in this list, which was journaling. So if you're going to journal, let's say it's whatever, like, I don't know, 2 pages a day or whatever I think I had on the non-negotiable, but whatever, we'll use this one as an example. Like journaling, let's say you're going to journal 3 pages a day, 3 pages a day. You're going to make sure that your notebook is not lost, first of all. Okay, you're going to make sure your notebook's like on the table, ready to go. There's a pen beside it. So you're waking up and you're literally seeing your journal with your note, with your pen, and you're like, okay, well, it's really hard to not journal. It's right here in front of me, right? And you're gonna make sure that you have that time. So maybe journaling takes you 10 minutes for you to get through 3 pages of just straight writing. So another thing you can do is carve out 10 minutes. It's not really that much of a big jump, a big difference. You're just waking up maybe 10 minutes earlier. Or maybe you're just not scrolling for 10 minutes and you're actually pulling out the journal and actually writing some stuff down. So maybe another thing that's going to help you do it is to get it done before you do anything else. So before you even get out of your bed, maybe you have your journal right beside you on your nightstand and you just pull it out and you're just writing in your bed while you're laying down. It's very easy. Whatever, you kind of just turn over and just start writing. If that doesn't work for you, maybe it's right on your desk. So you roll out of bed and the first thing you do is you journal before you even brush your teeth. So maybe like you're kind of itching to go brush your teeth, but you know that you need to finish these 3 pages. That's one way to get it out of the way. Get it done first thing in the morning. It's kind of just something, a task in the morning, you check it off. Now you, number one, you feel accomplished because you did one of your non-negotiables. Done, checked off. Number 2, you're getting the flow of the morning. So feeling that sense of accomplishment now sets your body up for success because you already know the feeling of success. You're getting familiar with the feeling of success. What does it feel like to feel fulfilled? Like you're accomplished something, okay? So now you're kind of setting your day up. You're setting your mood up for the day in a positive note, on a positive note, okay? So that's one of them. And the other example that I gave, what was the other example I gave? It was also 30 minutes of physical activity. I think we talked about that one. And then it was deep work. Okay, so let's say you have 2 hours of deep work every single day you want to do. Again, it's the same idea. How are you going to accomplish this? Where's the friction? How could this not happen? What's the possibility? What are things that are going to come up that are going to stop you from doing this? It usually has to do with time constraints. You saying like, I didn't have enough time, or I wasn't feeling the energy to do it. Okay, well, how are you going to feel the energy to do it? Maybe get it off your list first. So let's say you are journaling. You feel good, got the journaling out of the way, and let's say you wash up for the day, brush your teeth, wash your face, and now you get straight into deep work before you even eat. So there's a little bit of a motivation before you eat when you work. First of all, you work better in a flow state when you don't eat. So if you eat after after you get into this flow state for 2 hours, you're going to get more done and you're going to actually have a deeper period of work. So I think they talk about this in Deep Work by Cal Newport. It's a book. This is specifically talking about how to get into a deep flow state of work. And it starts with actually just being intentional and actually setting aside, carving out this time and just getting into it and not being distracted by your day, right? So when you're distracted by the day and you have a huge list of tasks in front of you and you're getting the easy ones out of the way first, you don't have as much energy saved up for the ones that are harder. So get the hard tasks out of the way first. So think about this. Look at your non-negotiable list for your lock-in list and be like, okay, what is actually going to be the hardest thing on this list? What am I going to be dreading? What am I probably going to procrastinate the most? And do that first. Maybe journaling to you is fun. So leave that for the end. Leave that for the end of the day or the last task on this non-negotiable list. Whatever those 3 tasks are that are going to bring you closer to your goal, you get them done early in the morning. You pick the one that's the hardest to do, get it done first. Sense of accomplishment's there. Imagine getting your hardest task done first. Think about like how that would feel in your body. And imagine the rest of your day, how it's gonna feel. Okay, let me see what you said. A mental journal works for me, and it's environmentally friendly. So the thing about a mental journal and why people like I've heard this before, and why people say like, why do I need to actually physically write things down? Why do I need to actually have physical like pen and paper? Is because when you are thinking about things, you're going to notice this when you journal, right? Everyone knows this. Anyone that journals knows this, is when you finally do write things down, you view it a lot different. It's almost like when you repeat what someone says to you, to repeat it to them, and they almost hear it again for themselves, and they reevaluate what they said. So let's say someone calls you a name, and then you said, did you just call me blank for doing blank? Did you just call me selfish for asking for this, whatever, time off, or telling you I need to leave early from work? And then they reevaluate what they said, and they're usually like, oh, okay, well, I meant it like this. Okay, it's the same thing where you write out and you journal, and you're like looking at the words that you're saying. Let's say there's a problem you want to journal about. You're like, okay, today was a shit show. Okay, and you're just writing it all out. Now that you've written it out, you're calling a name to the bad, and you're giving it less power over yourself. And you're also rereading it, and you're also realizing it's not actually that bad. When it's all up in your head and you're constantly rethinking it, it seems bigger than it is, or it seems worse than it is. When you finally write it out, you're taking back your power. And it's hard for me to tell you those type of things. It's easier for you to experience it for yourself. So that's why I would always suggest journaling. Because, like, literally, it's like explaining color to somebody that's blind. Like pink, it's just pink. It's just like, the color of a pig. Pink, the color of, and they're just not getting it. Like, it's just like you have to experience it for yourself. You have to journal for yourself to understand. You will journal in French, which is your favorite. That's nice. Whatever language you prefer. Whatever language. Honestly, the more you can romanticize something, the more you're going to want to do it. So if you feel like, okay, I'm going to journal in like the specific pen, the specific font, the specific writing, then do it that way. Whatever is going to help you get there. Literally, that's another reason to add to this reducing your friction of these habits. So if journaling just doesn't feel exciting to you, it doesn't feel romanticized enough, you don't feel enough excitement or dopamine from it, then maybe just make it a little bit more exciting to yourself. Like, use a specific pen, use a specific notebook that you love, buy a pretty notebook that just makes you feel more happy about it. Write in a specific way that makes you feel happy. Play music in the background. Maybe you love a specific music that doesn't distract you too much. Maybe some classical music, maybe some, beats of some lo-fi, some spa music. Like, there's literally a playlist on Apple Music that's like Apple Music Spa, specifically like the Apple Music playlist, and it's like this spa one. It has like the blue with the circles. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that one, but it's like a bunch of different spa songs that you would like, maybe you'd hear in a spa. And sometimes when I'm like doing my skincare or I'm doing like a night routine, I just play that playlist, and then it just gets you in the vibe. It gets you in the mood. Not that I need to get in the mood when I'm doing my skincare routine, because that's something that I don't really need help with. I love doing it. But if you find something that there's a lot of friction with this step, or a lot of friction where you just don't want to do this certain thing, make it more enjoyable. Make it a more enjoyable thing. Like, maybe this deep work, you just don't feel like doing it. Maybe writing it doesn't sound very exciting. Writing, journaling, maybe reading doesn't sound very exciting, but you have reading to do, or maybe you're even studying and you just don't feel like studying. Make it more enjoyable for yourself. Light a candle. Cut up some snacks. Whatever, like, make yourself a little snack to eat while you're studying. That's like, simple, it's on the side, it's healthy. Play some nice, relaxing music in the background, whatever you want to listen to. Just get yourself in the headspace of doing that task and make it just a little bit more enjoyable. It doesn't have to be extremely dopamine rising. Like, it's just like a little tweaks that you can do to make it more enjoyable, and then you're on your way to making these things a little more, you're reducing the friction of doing these habits. Okay? So, another amazing habit or a non-negotiable to do that really helps you, usually in most people's direction, is no phones for the first 30 minutes of waking up. So having this as a non-negotiable is not so much of a task as such of a non-task. It's a thing to avoid. So you're not using your phone for 30 minutes. It's not really something that you have to force yourself to do. Like, right? You can just put your phone in a different room. You can have an alarm clock that's not on your phone. And it's almost like you're seeing your phone. You can make it so seeing your phone or being on your phone within the first 30 minutes is almost like out of your way or harder. So there's certain specific things that you can just make harder for yourself that are non-negotiables. So maybe one of your non-negotiables that you don't have any refined sugars. So you don't buy any refined sugar. So now it's like it's something that's hard to do. You're increasing the energy that you need to go do those things. So if you put your phone in a box under the couch or something, or under the bed, or in another room, or in the basement, or just far away, and it's like in a box and it's off. So now you know, okay, well, if I really want to touch my phone before the 30 minutes are up, even an hour, let's say an hour, the first hour of waking up, if I really want to touch my phone, I'm going to have to walk all the way downstairs, take my phone out of the box, wait for it to turn on, and I'm going to know that I didn't do the non-negotiable for the day. I don't want to do it. Okay, again, let's talk about with the sweet treat. Let's say you're like, you don't want to have refined sugars. That's your non-negotiable. If I really want this refined sugar product, whatever, this refined food, this processed food, I don't have it in the house. So I'm going to have to get in my car, go to the store, buy it. You're increasing the activation energy. Or maybe it's just like an Uber Eats away, but maybe you deleted Uber Eats off your phone. Okay? Let's say you deleted Uber Eats off your phone. If you deleted Uber Eats off your phone, it's going to make it even harder. Now you're like, okay, well, now I have to re-download the app or go in your car and go drive to the store. And you're not going to be doing your non-negotiable if you do all that. So now you're allowing yourself space to think about, do you really want to do this task? Or do you really want to, by doing this task, you're undoing your non-negotiable. You want to leave yourself room to think about the action that you're going to take. A lot of the non-negotiables can even be like cutting specific things out. Maybe you're cutting a specific vice that you have, specific habit that you have, a negative or harmful habit. Making it harder for you to get to that habit. Making it harder for you to embark and engage in that habit or that vice. Okay? Maybe it's alcohol. Get rid of all the alcohol in the house. Just make it harder for you to get to that alcohol. Maybe you don't see any of the friends that drink. Maybe you don't see them for the entire month. You're making it just harder, whatever. Or maybe you're telling everybody, keep me accountable for this. Especially if you are letting other people know about specific things that you want to keep yourself accountable. It's going to be easier for you to achieve that because other people are going to be like, well, did you do it? And you're not only just letting yourself down, you're letting other people down. Because you have to say it to yourself and you have to say it to others like, oh, no, I didn't do it. So whatever you need to do to make these goals work. Okay, that's the next step. Okay, so another really big point with this is that consistency during the low days, the days that you're not really feeling it, the days that it's harder to do these non-negotiables, are the days that when you do it, it's going to become ingrained in you more than the days that you're feeling great and it's easy to do them and you feel motivated and stuff like that. If you feel unmotivated on that day and you're just like, I don't want to do it, like this is not the day, you just woke up on a bad mood, that's the day that you need to do this the most. That's the day that's the most important to stick to this non-negotiable list. I promise you, if you do it on the hardest days, if you do the hardest things, the hardest tasks on the days that you do not want to do it, it makes everything else easy. It makes all the other days easy. The hardest days, okay, the days that you are like, I do not want to get up. I just want to go on my phone. I want to rot in bed. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do the physical activity. I want to eat whatever foods. I don't want to work out. I don't want to journal. I don't want to do that. Trust me, if you actually stick to this non-negotiable list, you stick to your routine, you stick to your goals, this is the lock-in that you need for 2026. Because it's going to make it actually ingrain into an identity instead of just these habits that you have on a list far away in your journal. You want this ingrained into your identity. How do you ingrain into your identity? It's doing it on the hard days. Like I said in the beginning of this live, it's not about the extreme discipline. It's not about making it so uncomfortable that it's like, it just is so unenjoyable. You're tailoring this so that you do feel good afterwards. You feel like, yeah, I feel really good. Like that, actually, I feel accomplished. I feel like I'm getting closer to my goal. I feel like I'm living the day that I actually want to live for myself. I know there's some days, not even some days, most days I don't want to work out, but I force myself to do it. And once I'm on my mat, once I'm working out, because I work out at home, I actually really like feel great afterwards. Like I really enjoy the feeling afterwards of knowing that I accomplished that and I did it, because I know that that's the life I want to live. That's the habits I want to have. Those are the routine I want to have. That's the routine I want to have. Is being someone that works out, being someone that's like physically active and that just like powers through the workout. You know what I mean? Like that actually does it even when they don't feel like it. So if I know I can do it on the days where I'm like, I don't feel like doing this, then I know it's easy. On the days that I'm like, okay, we can do a workout, I know those days I'm definitely going to do a workout. If I can easily do it on the days when I don't feel like doing it, or it's inconvenient, or I don't have enough time, if I really like want to and I carve out that time and I do it, I know like, okay, there's nothing stopping me from the days that there is actually time and I do feel like doing it. So always kind of train in harder conditions, because it will make life easier when the conditions are normal or when the conditions are easier. So kind of psych yourself, like test yourself in harder conditions. So for this lock-in routine, new healthy habits that you're adding for 2026, you're making it harder for yourself in the beginning so that it's easier on the days that it's easier. So push yourself to do it. This is like the discipline. This is as much discipline as you'd want to have, is disciplining yourself to do these tasks and at least begin them, at least start. Okay? It's so much easier to continue a task once you've already started it than beginning it. The beginning is the worst part. The beginning, getting on the mat, getting to the desk, starting the first sentence, reading the first page, that's the worst part of it, because you're delaying that, you're procrastinating it. You're doing so many other tasks. I know if I have something to do and I don't feel like doing it, something in the past I've usually done is like I'll start cleaning the most unnecessary things. Like all of a sudden the windowsills need wiping down. You know what I mean? So sometimes it gets really funny, and like you can see yourself procrastinating what you're doing. And thank you so much. Yeah. Yes. So that's how you basically get the most done in the most efficient way, and that's what I found actually works. Instead of having this huge list of things that you want to do, an entire routine. Sometimes people make a daily routine, and I fall victim to this as well, where you make an entire daily routine and it's so hard to stick to that daily routine. Like, it's so much easier, guys, trust me, when you do this non-negotiable lock-in routine where there's 3 non-negotiables and you make sure you do those things by writing something of how you're going to actually achieve them, how you're going to reduce the friction. I'm going to wake up earlier and I'm not going to see my phone. Not even not going to wake up early. When people say I'm going to wake up earlier, how are you going to wake up earlier? Write it down. Like literally, how are you going to wake up earlier? You can't just say you're going to wake up earlier. How are you physically going to wake up earlier? You know what I mean? If you just keep saying you're going to do something and you're just like, I'm going to try to do this, I'm going to try to do this, it's just not going to work out. Like you have to exactly have the steps of how you're going to do it and just do it. Decide you're going to do it. Don't just say I'm going to try. I've had this, like I've done this with my clients as well. Like if I say I'm going to try to pick this pen up, how are you going to try to pick this pen up? If I say pick the pen up, pick the pen up. If I say don't pick the pen up, don't pick the pen up. If I say try to pick the pen up, like what does that even mean? It's like just eliminate it. Eliminate it out of your vocabulary, eliminate it out of your mind. We don't use the word try, you just do it. Like if you said you're going to wake up early, you just wake up early. Let's say it doesn't work out where you go to bed super late, you're like, okay, tonight's not the day, I'm not going to wake up early, but I'm going to try to. No, just do it. Now you're waking up and guess what? You're tired. You don't feel like waking up early, but you do it anyways. You wake up early. Now, who's going to go to sleep early? You. Because you woke up so early that your body's already tired. You're like, you know what? I'm not going to do that whole thing again where I go to, you know, because you're procrastinating it. You're self-sabotaging yourself by saying you're going to wake up early, not waking up early by staying up. You are self-sabotaging yourself by staying up. So don't give into it. Literally just wake up and your body's just going to be like, wait, the self-sabotage is not working. And you're going to see like yourself just wanting to go to bed early. I actually used this momentum when I came back from a trip, and there was jet lag where I'm waking up really, really early. So I just used the jet lag and I actually just woke up early. But yeah. And then what you're doing when you do these non-negotiables is you're building systems. You're not just focusing on a goal. You obviously have a goal or intention in mind behind these non-negotiables, but you're more so developing systems and structure in your life. Instead of just saying, I have goals. I have goals is not the same as like, oh, I have systems. I have systems and structures where I wake up and I do these systems. Whether if I'm feeling it or not, I just do it. And like I said, these systems are designed to make you feel better, more accomplished, more fulfilled. So it's not something to feel negatively about. It's not something to dread. It's something to be excited about. Like, no, I have amazing systems in my life that keep me accountable, keep me locked in, keep me getting closer to my goals. I feel great about it. Okay, so I'm going to end it there. If you guys have any questions or you want to have more like whatever recommendations for topics for future lives, then put those in the comments. And then I'm going to make lives based on your recommendations and based on your comments. Specifically like questions or topics that you want me to cover. And we'll go through those. And yeah, that's basically today and what I wanted to cover for today. So that's basically how to lock in, build a routine, and make habits actually stick. So like I said, how to make habits stick the most, do them on the hardest days. Get things done in the morning. Okay, try these things out. Actually try them out, because it's different if you actually hear me saying them and you don't actually do them. You don't implement them, but it's a lot differently. It's a lot that the results are a lot different if you actually implement them and you actually do them, and then you see if it works for yourself. Don't just take my word for it. Actually do it. Actually do it. Okay? Thank you guys for watching.